Hey guys, so this is the tutorial for the Snowflake Mobile. So I'm going to be jumping in just a second, show you what's in your kit, and then we'll get started. But just to show you what it looks like when we're finished. So this is my Snowflake Mobile, and definitely going to keep this one. Take it home, there's a hook in your kit, and I'm just going to hang it from my ceiling. So let's get started. Alright, so I'm going to go through what is in your kit first, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So you're going to have one of these metal rings, and this is what you're going to basically hang everything from. Now be very careful. You do have one sewing needle in one of the black bags, so please be careful when you're opening it. I gave you a very tiny piece of fishing line. Now I'm going to tell you why I did that. The needle won't fit through the buttonholes on the wooden snowflakes that I gave you. So we're actually going to be using the fishing line to get your thread through those little holes, and I'll show you how to do that. So that's what the teeny tiny little piece of fishing wire is for. Okay. You're also going to have two of these embroidery threads. You might only need to use one for the project, but just in case you need more, so I gave you two of these. Alright, so you also are going to have a little bit of this blue ribbon, and that is what you're going to use to hang it from your ceiling. And then of course you've also got a hook to put into your ceiling. Let's see. You are going to have a little black bag full of these various snowflakes and these guys. Let's see. This bag. So you've also got a bag that has your blue ribbon, and then you also have this stuff, this white stuff. Now this is what's going to be the very last step. It's going to go around the ring, and it's going to basically look like a cloud, and then your snowflakes will be coming off of that. And just because we had some leftover pipe cleaners, I put a couple of these little pipe cleaners in there in case you wanted to make use the pipe cleaner to twist and bend some snowflakes, so that's what those are for. Alright, so now that I've showed you everything that is in the bag, we're going to go ahead and get started. Alright. So you are going to need your own pair of scissors, and then I'm going to get this needle put somewhere careful so that I don't lose it. Alright. Alright, so the first thing you're going to want to do, ooh, and somehow my ring got a little bent, but that is okay, it's not going to hurt anything. So the first thing you're going to want to do is decide how far down you want your snowflakes to hang off of this. And I'm just going to probably make mine about maybe 1.5 feet, something like that. So what you're going to want to do is grab your embroidery thread and very carefully open it up, so that you don't get everything tangled, and just take off a length of this. Now since I'm going to put this at about 1.5 feet, you're going to want to get 3 feet of this, and I'll show you why in a second. So my handy dandy cutting mat here actually happens to be in inches, so I'm just going to use this really quick and just measure out the 12. So let's see, so that is, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Sorry, it's really early in the morning and my math just does not work this early. Okay, so there's 1, and then there's 2 feet, and then that there is going to make 3 feet. Go ahead and cut your length. Now when you put this on your hoop, you can do it one of two ways. You can either tie this into a knot, or you can make a slip knot, and that's what I'm going to do because I find that that is just the easiest way to do this. What you want to do is fold your thread in half, put the loop under your ring like this. Now take this end, put it through your embroidery thread, and then just pull. And so what you're going to end up doing is making a bit of a slip knot, just like that. So this is going to hang off of my loop. And so basically what you're going to want to do is decide how many of these you want to put on. Go ahead and put them all on right now, and then we will go ahead and start putting on the little snowflakes. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video, and I'm going to put the rest of the thread on, and then I'll be right back. Alright, so I went ahead and I got 8 of these strings hanging off of my loop here. This was one whole skein of embroidery thread. Now if you want to do more than 8 of these hanging down, by all means go ahead and use the second strand that I gave you. If not, just hold on to it for, you know, another project that you might want to do someday. And once we get all the snowflakes on, what you'll do is you'll just push the hoop, or these little loops of the thread, you know, just around your hoop, so that they're sort of all evenly spaced out, just like that. Alright, so I'm going to start putting on some of my snowflakes, and then we'll be using the needle for that. So you'll want to get that out. Alright, so just to make this easier, I'm just putting all the thread on one side so I can get to it. It's very important not to get these all tangled up like I just did. Alright, so now you're going to want to grab your needle and that little piece of fishing line that I put in your bag. I'm trying to find mine, it's very small. If it's even still in there. I suggest with these two, the wooden ones and these heavier gemmed ones, I would suggest you put those on the ends of your lines, because that'll give it a little weight to keep them hanging down straight. Because these little snowflakes are very tiny, they don't weigh a lot, and you'll want a little bit of weight on the end of your thread in order to keep your line nice and straight. I am going to put the embroidery thread through my needle. And so one thing I learned is that putting the embroidery thread through these needles is not fun. So that is what this tiny little bit of fishing line is for. You're going to put your fishing line into a loop. You're going to put the ends of the fishing line, both ends, through the eye of your sewing needle. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take one of these hanging threads, not both of them, just the one. You're going to put it through the loop, like that. You know, just like that, and then pull the fishing line through your needle, and then what that's going to do is it's going to bring the embroidery thread with it. So now you have the embroidery thread is on your needle. Alright, so go ahead and start and just grab one of your snowflakes. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to go through the back of one of your snowflakes. You're going to want to kind of off-center the hole that you make. Because what you're going to do is once you go through the flake, you're going to go back through the flake. So let's go ahead and put this one in. And these little flakes can be a little fragile, so when you pull them, don't pull too hard through the needle. So like don't grab the ends of the flakes and then grab them, because they'll rip. Alright, so you pull that through. Now you go back through the same snowflake again in the center. Okay. Oops. Now let's do it this way. Here we go. Now be very careful when you're putting these needles through your snowflakes and don't poke yourself. Okay. Alright, and now I have one snowflake on my thread. So you can see that here. Let me bring it a little closer so you can see it. Alright. So I have one snowflake on here. And then what you're going to want to do is, you know, like every one of these little bits of thread, you know, put a few snowflakes on each one. You know, switch it up a little bit. You know, we got the blue ones, we've got the white ones, You know, you can alternate them, do whatever you like. There's also different sizes and all that. So, and then of course you've got the dark blue ones and the silver ones. So yeah, switch it up, do them random. It'll just make it look cuter. So I think I'm going to put about 3 on each one of these, and then I will be back and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, so before I actually continue and do all of these, I do need to show you how to get on the little white wooden flakes at the end of your snowflake. So just like the sewing needle, we're going to use the fishing line. You're going to put the fishing line through one of the buttonholes. And then, just like the fishing line and the needle, put the embroidery thread through it and then just pull it through the hole of the little snowflake. And then if you grab your fishing line and then pull it through the second hole of the button. So we're just going to go back through the second hole with both ends of the fishing line. All right. All right, so take the end, go through the loop of the fishing line, and then pull both of them through the second loop. Okay? So now we've got the little wooden snowflake is at the bottom of the string. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pull this down a little bit. Let's see, it's right there. I'm just going to make a tiny little knot. And then I will cut off any excess embroidery thread that happens to be hanging down. Okay, so there's my knot. Grab the scissors. And then just cut off the excess. Okay, so now I've got one of these strings has 1, 2, 3, and then the little wooden snowflake at the end. So I'm going to go all the way around the hoop, do all of these, and then I'll be back. So I am all finished putting all my little snowflakes onto my hoop here. And before I go on to the next step, I will show you how to tie on these pretty little crystal snowflakes that I have. Now, unfortunately, these did not come with like a loop or anything in the back, which is a little disappointing, but we can get past that. So the easiest way to put these on the end of your string, as I am using the tips of all these little snowflakes as sort of an anchor for the thread. So what I did is I put the thread around one of these here. Then I did the opposite little flake here. So I just sort of wove it around and then I just tied the string in the back. So you could kind of see how I put that on there. So I found that that was the best way to put this little crystal snowflake on the end of the string, because unfortunately it didn't come with a buttonhole like I was hoping. But that was how I did that. So now that all of my snowflakes are on, we're going to get out the light blue ribbon, and this is what we're going to use to hang it from the ceiling. Now, since I put 8 different strands on here and I want this to hang evenly, I put 2 in each of these 4 quadrants. So what we're going to do is we're going to tie half of the ribbon from side to side on the loop, and then we're going to take the other half and we're going to tie it this way so that they cross into the center of your loop. So let's grab scissors, and I'm just going to cut this blue ribbon in half. And then I am just going to tie a knot here and a knot there. And you don't want it to be tight. You want it to have a little bit of slack so that it comes off just a little bit. tie that tight. And now we've got this going across. I'm going to just grab my scissors and cut off some of the excess ribbon. There we go. And the same on this side. Now these big old knots here don't look that great, but the very last step is going to hide all of those knots so you won't see it. All right, so let's grab the second half of our ribbon. We're going to go from this side to this side. So what happens is in between all these, we want 2 of the white threads in between each of these sections of the blue ribbon so that it hangs evenly, and so that when you hang it up, your mobile is not, hanging lopsided or anything like that. Is going to be a little tricky. What you want is these guys to be about the same length. So I'm sort of going to guesstimate it, and then I will just basically tie a loose knot here so that I can tighten, extend it, or make it shorter so that both of those ribbons are roughly the same length across. So I'm just going to pick it up, and that's not quite right, so I'm going to pull this just a little bit more, make this a little shorter. So I'll try that again. Okay, it was a little longer, so I'll just take a little bit back out. See how that looks. Now that don't look too bad. That looks just about right. Okay. All right, so now do another knot here, tighten it all up, cut off the excess. All right, so now when you pick this up from the center, it's going to basically hang. All right. Now we are on the very last step, and that is to get the fuzzy white thread that I gave you. This is called eyelash thread. And just very carefully untangle it if it got tangled up in your bag. You don't want to pull on this too hard because it is not fun getting a knot out of this stuff because of all the little hairs. All right, so I got mine all out. All right. And so now what we're going to do is we are going to start on one part of the loop, and we're basically going to wrap this eyelash thread over and over and over again around the loop until we go all the way around. So basically it's going to end up looking like a cloud that the snowflakes are coming out of. So I am actually just going to start this off right here. I am going to tie the eyelash thread into a little knot here around this blue ribbon to basically anchor it while I go around. And then we'll tie it off, and then you'll basically essentially be done, with the exception of you or somebody tall putting this into your ceiling. Now, get your parents' permission before you start putting holes in your ceiling, just in case they don't want that. Okay, so now that I have gone all the way around the loop, I am just going to take the excess and then just anchor it on right here where we started. Actually, I missed a little spot here. Grab that real quick. So those pipe cleaners that I gave you guys, if you want to use those, it was sort of an afterthought. I had a bunch of Boo pipe cleaners sitting around. If you want to use those and bend them into snowflake shapes, you can also hang that from here. You can also use paper if you wanted to make a couple paper snowflakes. You can even take one of the pipe cleaners, make a big snowflake, and hang it from the center so that it hangs right about here. And that would be pretty cute. So this is all finished. You can kind of see it. Let me bring the camera up so you can see it better. There we go. So yeah, so now it's hanging fairly straight. The fun part is, making sure that when you hang this up that all of your little bits of embroidery thread don't wrap around each other, like this one keeps wanting to do. There we go. There. So that is my hanging snowball and snowflake mobile, whatever you want to call it. And so yeah, you can use those little pipe cleaners that I gave you. Make a, kind of bend them into a big snowflake. You can hang it from the center if you want, using another piece of the white embroidery thread. So those are for you to do whatever you like with. But anyway, there's my hanging snowmobile. All right, guys. Well, that was fun. So I can't wait to do the next project with you. All right. Bye.